Thanks for tuning in to watch The Ordinary Filmmaker. In this video, I'm going to focus on lighting, and in particular, I'm going to narrow that focus down to one light in particular, and that's the Colbor CL100. I'd say about a month ago, the company reached out to me asking if I'd like to review their light. And, well, I've got a lot of lights. I've got a couple of flat panels that I had out here. I've got a flat panel there. I've got about 7 LED lights here providing background. So I wasn't really eager to try out a new light. I was all lit out. And they provided me quite a bit of documentation, which is quite rare when a company wants me to review something. I took a look, I thought like, wow, this seems to be, based on their information, that this light can do a lot of heavy lifting, that with this light, I don't need too many other lights. So I said yes. About a week later, it showed up in my mailbox, and, well, I'm going to tell you about my experience. Now, I did shoot with it for about 3 weeks. Upstairs doing the live streams where I have a very different lighting environment. Down here in the basement studio, again, a very different lighting environment. And outside, another different lighting environment. First of all, let me tell you about what it's like. The CL100 is very light, it's very compact, but as far as durability, well, see, that's the trade-off you're going to have. You can have something that's very durable, very strong, that you can drop, that you can bang around, and it's going to last, but you can't have lightweight. And for me, for doing studio work where everything is set up, I rarely move things around. That's not an issue for me. So if you're doing like studio work and it's basically going to stay in one spot, no problem. If you are going to move it around, well, they did provide a nifty little carrying case that helps keep it protected. But the real story about this thing is the price. It's $199. And when I saw the price and everything they said it could do, I was a little bit skeptical. So I very quickly set it up, and let me talk to you about my setup here. Right now, I have the CL100 right here. It's about 6 feet away from my face. I do have a diffuser on it. And then right over here, I have a ring light. It's not very bright. It's just enough so that way this side of my face isn't too dark, because without this light, with a very, very dark basement, there really isn't any other ambient light. And I kind of look like that character off Star Trek, the original series where they're half black, half white, or half white and half black. So that really helps there. And I have a flat panel light above me here and about 7 LED lights providing some light to the background, separating the background from me, and also just providing a bit more depth to the studio. And you're right, I don't need that many lights. In fact, I could probably get by with just the CL100, a little light coming off the side here. I could probably just use any lamp, but I'm using the ring light because I have it. I don't really need the light above me, but since I have it, I'm going to use it. And as far as LED lights in the back, I could probably just get by with about 4 of them. Now, as far as the settings, I went ahead and set the CL100 to 55%, and the color temperature, well, I set that to 5600. This CL100 does range between 2500 and, what was the top end number? 6500 Kelvin. So it gives you, it's a bicolor lens, or bicolor light. It doesn't give you the choice over different colors. But as a forward main light, I find that this is a very, very good light. And I've used it for 3 weeks. I haven't had any issues with it. And it even comes with a remote control here. And I really like this remote because when you're first setting it up in a new environment and you're a single person crew, you would go back, you'd adjust it, come back, take a look. And it can take an awful lot of time to set up and calibrate it to the way you want it. Now, as far as lighting goes, I know I want it to set it to 5600. So it's the intensity. Upstairs, when I was doing the live streams, I had it set at around 70-75%. In the basement, I had to reset it. So using this remote, I was able to adjust it very simply. And let's, try that again. Okay, so let me first of all tell you what I like about this remote and then tell you some of the issues that I had with it. When you're far away from it and you're a single person crew, having a remote control to help you adjust the intensity is perfect. To set it up, what they tell you based on the manual, you need to plug it into the power source first, then you press and hold down, I think it's the EFF key or the CCT key, I can't remember which one, but I did follow the instructions. I just have a short-term memory. And then it will sync up, and you can power it on and adjust the lighting, and I find that perfect. But after a certain amount of time, and I haven't done a lot of testing because usually once you've set it up, I'm not going to change it again. The lighting isn't going to change every time I've shot down in the basement studio. I've kept the CL100 at 55%. But if you want to do a review like I am, or just for whatever reason you want to change it, right up close, it's kind of like one of those ill-tempered, confused teenagers. It wants to sleep. It doesn't want to get up. When it gets up, it doesn't want to stay up for very long. It goes to work. It comes home. It doesn't want to work too long. I don't know if it's an issue with this one remote or if it's endemic. But even if it was with everyone, I don't see it being a major issue because once you've got things set up, you don't really need to change things all the time. But when you go to a new environment, yeah, it works. I connect everything up. I test it out. And then I usually put it down and that's it. But having a remote control really, really does help because I'm a single person crew. But let's talk a little bit more about how it's changed my channel because lighting is very, very important. Yes, the camera and lens is important, but I would say not as much as the audio. If you have bad audio, people won't stay around for more than about 5 seconds. If your audio's that bad, they're just going to leave. And once you get the audio fixed, which isn't that expensive, well, lighting really, really helps because it doesn't matter if you've got expensive lenses. Like I've got the Canon RF 50mm f1.2. It's an expensive lens, $2,200 US or $3,400 Canadian. But if you don't have your lighting set up right, then, you know, nothing looks great. And any time where you're shooting, it's about getting that right balance. So using the Ninja 5, with the remote control, I adjusted the light until the IRE from my face was right around 60 to 65. Now, for my skin complexion, where I basically look like a tomato, because whatever it is, whatever reason, I get in front of lights, I start doing this, my face does turn pretty red. But for me, for most Europeans, Northern Europeans, an IRE of around 65 to 60 is perfect. And I really love the simplification of this. I don't get nearly as much glare as I did before, and it allows me to simplify my setup. And if you are somebody who's just starting out, if you're looking at getting into YouTube, you don't want to spend a lot of money, well, let's take a look at what you'd end up spending. So the CL100, of course, is going to cost you about $199. Now, you don't need a ring light like I have here. Depending on your lighting situation, you might have more than sufficient lighting that you don't need to worry about the other side of your face. Or what you could do is you could move it a little bit more over so it's a little bit more center weighted. Now I might change it so it's center weighted to the left a little bit, and then I'll still get some lighting on this side of my face. But if you've got even just a simple lamp in your house, you could always have that here to give you enough light so your face isn't too dark. Now the light I have just above me here, it's a flat panel. It's not very bright. It's just to help separate me from the background. But it's not essential. You could get by without that. So we're still at $199. For these backlights, that is very, very important as well. Having these LED lights help provide more depth to my background. And of course, it gives me something to separate myself from. And yes, I have 6 of them. I have one right here, which gives a light across the bookcase here. I have another one here, which is a different hue, provides lighting this way here. And then, of course, right behind this flat panel, which isn't turned on, I have another red LED light. There's one up top here shining down. And then, of course, I've got one there, and one behind these lenses right here. There we go. And I like that look. Now, you don't need that many, and it depends on your background, but LED lights, honestly, I highly recommend them. And if you're going to have a studio where you're doing a talking head, much like where I am, you can probably get by with just using 4 LED lights. And these lights usually cost around $100. $100 for all 4, but they're usually around $20 each. They're quite affordable. I would get 5 just in case one goes bad on you. And for the longest time, I used Ulanzi, but this one here, I believe, is not Ulanzi, it's Vitopel. But they're the exact same product. It looks like there's a single manufacturer for these, and different companies will say, look, these are the specifications, this is the software, they'll do different effects. Like this one here will do flashing, thunder, pulses, police type flashing lights. which is really helpful for some of the creatives, not so much for me. So you could do lighting for $300 US if you're starting out, and that's way cheaper than what I spent. Now, I talked about some of the strobe effects that this light does. Well, the CL100 also has a lot of those strobe effects. It can simulate lighting. It can simulate different pulses, and I think there's about 9 of them there. And I went through them and it works, but you know what? For my uses, it's just pure silliness. And I could do something like Casey does on Camera Conspiracies, and I can probably simulate a boardroom scene where, you know, it's 11:30 at night. We're ready to come out with this camera. Storms are raging. It's tense, and I can have simulated lightning with lightning sounds and do all sorts of wonderful stuff like that. But no, I'm going to leave that crazy creative stuff to Casey. I think he does a really good job with that. But all in all, the CL100 for $200 US, $199. I do have a link in the description down below, but I think it's really terrific. It's easy to adjust the levels. There are some things you need to be aware of, though. If you're looking at getting this light, there are some extras. If you haven't bought lighting before, you're going to need some sort of a stand. You don't want to put it on some sort of table. A stand will help keep it from falling over. It keeps it secure. And you're going to want a diffuser. I didn't have a diffuser when I first got it. I turned it on, and boy, was it was like looking into the sun. But you do need a diffuser, so that way not only does it not feel like you're looking directly into the sun with your eyeball, but you want to softly diffuse that light so you don't have these glare patterns across your face. Now, doing what anybody would do when they're looking at saving some money by buying a $200 light, I was able to find some rather cheap diffusers on Amazon.ca, and I spent about, I think it was $20 and I got 2 of them, so US pricing is probably around $16 for 2 of them. And if you read the reviews, a lot of people will say they're really cheap. These diffusers, they don't last very long. They're very flimsy. If it falls, they're going to break. And I agree. But if money is tight, if you're going to leave things and you're not going to move them around a lot, then it's perfect. This $10 light I've been using since I got it, sure, it's not the best quality, but you know, I'm testing out a $200 light. So you can add another $10 to the price. I would get 2 in case one does break. So $20 to the price. 4 of these things would be $80. That's $100 plus the CL100. You're looking at $300 for lighting. That's pretty good. And I've been using it for 3 weeks. So while I haven't been using it for a year, I can't tell you how durable and dependable they are. Other than the remote control, I can tell you, I think for the price they're pretty good. I'm going to continue using this as my main studio light on this channel. So if I have any issues, I'm going to let you know. And I'm also going to reach out to the company and say, look, you know, a couple of times when using this remote control, it would just forget and just stop functioning, and I'd have to resync it. Not a big deal, but I'll provide you with feedback in the comment section. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. What do you think? Do you have any questions about this light? Feel free to put them in the comment section down below. And even if you're watching this video 6 months after or longer, I still do watch comments, so go ahead and post a question and I'll get back to you. But if I could just ask one brief favor from you, please go ahead and like and subscribe. I don't know how the YouTube algorithm works, but it's pretty consistent across the internet. Why a lot of us ask you for subscribes and likes is because the more feedback we get, the more YouTube, for whatever reason, will recommend that video, that engagement, I guess it shows that people are watching videos, and when they see that, oh, a lot of people are watching Simon's videos, let's go ahead and recommend it to more people because we'll get more money off of it. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. We'll see you again soon.